Let's talk pocket pairs. Welcome to Bonesaw Poker. I'm Brad. Time for strategy and play. Let's go. All right, pocket pairs. This one should get the comment section going. I don't play pocket pairs the way most people do. Might be a leak. We'll see. I play pocket pairs differently in cash from tournaments, and I'll explain why. So in tournaments, pocket pairs are big hands because once the stack sizes start going down, I mean, everybody's got 50 bigs, 30 bigs. Once those the amount of big blinds go down, people are jamming, ace anything, jack 6 suited because it's a suited Broadway. A lot of hands are getting played that they're not going to get played that way in a cash game where people can comfortably, I know we have bottom pair here, but there's 3 Broadways, we're going to fold that, where people can just sit there and nut pedal and wait for good hands, and they're in no hurry to get it in because you just rebuy if you run out. You're not kicked out of the tournament. And where the tournament, the 4-6, we're going to fold that in the small blind. So in a tournament where if you don't play, you're going to blind out. So there's no just sitting around waiting to flop sets. You got to go. And in tournaments, I play my pairs aggressively. If we're down 25 bigs or less effective, I'm going to have trouble folding it pre-flop. Now, I will, depending on the player and if it's a low pair. But I might also, oftentimes, where I'll be the one jamming even with the smaller pairs. And I'll get into that when we cover the different types of pairs. Where in cash, the blinds don't go up. They're the same the whole time. Queen 3 will fold. So when you get a middle pair or a baby pair, and you want to run and gun with it, people aren't stressed out about getting kicked out of a tournament and blinding out, so they can play snugger. And if you're tight to begin with and you're raising up, they're going to just play real careful. And if you come firing out on the flop, and they can get away from the hand a lot easier. In tournaments, especially once the blinds start reducing, especially in the later stages of the tournament, people can't do that. People go, I mean, if you play tournaments, you see the nonsense that people go with because they're running out of blinds. So that's the big difference between online and cash, in my opinion. And that's why I treat the two completely different. And the other reason, too, is in cash, you're hoping to flop a set. Well, if you got 2 9s, there's only 2 9s left in the deck. And if you don't flop it, you're probably going to flop overs. And if you don't flop overs, you're probably going to catch one on the turn. So they're problematic. In a tournament, especially when the blinds are getting down, just rip it in. Or if you've got 9s and there's a one face card, you might have to let it. That's not an ace or a king. If you got an overcard that's not an ace or a king, well, you might let it rip. We'll call this in the big 9-10. We got nothing cooking here. We can't beat top pair on the turn. We need runner. We got nothing going. This hand is over. So that's why I play them so dramatically different. And I know a lot of people and poker coaches and everything, if you got pocket 9s, pocket 10s, and we're 3-betting, we're going to 4-bet bluff, and we're jamming it in. I mean, if they're a maniac, sure. But on a normal cash table, no, you're only going to get called by better. Or you're going to be flipping against ace-king. Jack 9 suited on the button. We're going to raise. This is a raise, fold to 3-bet. I'm not calling a 3. Even though we are in position, I'm not going to call 3-bet with this. And he let it go. So we got the 3 different types of pairs. You got the top of range pairs. That's your aces, your kings, and your queens. You've got your middle pairs, which you could argue how I'm defining this, that this might not be correct. I'm saying jacks, 10s, 9s, 8s, and even 7s. I know comparing jacks to 7s and putting them in the same boat is kind of questionable. And then our last section is the baby pairs. 6s, 5s, 4s, 3s, and 2s. So let's start out talking about the baby pairs. In a cash game, for me, those are set mine only. Unless on that rare time that you flop the open-ender with it. But generally speaking, it's going to be a no set, no bet. Because if I didn't flop it, I have 2 outs to catch it on the turn. 2 times 2 is 4. I got a 4% chance of picking it up. Either I have to be c-betting because it's a c-bet board, or they have to bet like 1.2 bigs. So I'm probably letting it go because a lot of that, I'm just, once I decide set no set, no bet, I just pretty much live with it. But let's talk pocket pairs in a tournament. I've shoved 3s before for 20 big blinds where I'm the aggressor. Somebody else raised first in and I'm aggressor. I'm more likely to raise with them than call a raise with them. So if I raise first in and somebody just calls and we go to the flop, that I don't have to hit a set with that. I'm going to read the board and we're probably going to start putting money in. Depends on the board. Depends on the player. You got to think about it. Jack 2, we're going to fold that in the big blind. But if the effective stacks are getting down under 30, under 25, under 20, and somebody raises first in and I got 5s, we might be going. Yeah, I've got fold equity, and if not, I do have a made hand post flop. Now, you could argue, well, you got that same deal in cash game, but there's no urgency in the cash game, and people are more likely to fold. If somebody's on a draw, if it was 25 bigs to start the hand, and you raise, we got kings in the small blind, we're going to raise that up. We're never folding this pre. We will 3-bet if somebody's in ahead of us, and if somebody 4-bets, we're just going to get it in. All right, we're going to 3-bet big because there's 2 people. Like to try to keep this heads up, and we're never folding pre. Let's see what happens here. He's thinking. Oh, picked up a couple folds. Okay. So, again, in the cash games, the sense of urgency just isn't there. So people can nut pedal, and you start piling money in post-flop, they can let it go. A little different in tournaments. So that's my thought on the baby pairs. Ace-Jack offsuit, this is, okay, if somebody's in ahead of us, we'd 3-bet it, but we're just going to bet it. We're not calling a 3-bet with Ace-Jack offsuit. We're just behind too much. Now, if a guy was wild, okay, we might go over the top. We might even get it in. Okay, so this is a typical c-bet board. It's a queen, 7-3. Even though there's 2 of the same suit, this is a typical 3-bet board, or c-bet board. So we're going to c-bet it, and we're going to fold to a raise, especially from a regular. Regulars only put it in when they can beat top pair. If he can beat top pair, here it is. There you go. Yep, exactly. He's either got top, ace, queen. The worst hand that he has there is ace, queen. Now, there's not a lot of 2 pairs on that board. Queen, 7-3. Yeah, it probably doesn't have 7-3. Probably doesn't have queen 3. Could have queen 7, maybe. And, of course, he's got all the sets. But we can't be afraid of sets. But once they put money in, he's got ace, queen is his worst hand there. Just saying. Would he do it with a flush draw? I doubt it. Especially when somebody I got tagged as a reg. I doubt it highly. So let's get to middle pairs. And when we're talking those, that's kind of a broad subject because lumping sevens in with jacks is a little. I understand if you kind of think that's a little screwy, but let's hash it out. So your sevens, eights, nines, tens, and jacks. Again, in a tournament, we're getting real aggressive, especially with the tens and jacks. It's going in. We'll put that in with 40, 50 bigs. It's a big hand. It again, depending on the player. If you're against somebody that hasn't put chips in the middle for a really long, that just plays super tight, then we might be a little bit more careful with it. But generally speaking, we're going to get pretty aggressive with them. Nines, eights, and sevens, kind of along the same lines. We might play them slightly less aggressively, but not by much. It's especially the lower the stacks. Okay, here's pocket twos. This is even though we're on the button, we're just going to call that. We're definitely not 3-betting. And okay, now he probably didn't hit him. He's a pre-flop aggressor. He's going to c-bet, and we're just going to let it go. I got 2 outs. Only thing I can beat is a guy with a couple face cards, which he's probably going to catch on the next one. Playability matters. If you go to Poker Simple, that's Tommy Angelo and Lee Jones, their strategy poker channel. And it's a really good channel. I highly recommend it. That's a lot of great content for free. And they talk about pocket jacks. So when they talk about jacks, they're talking jacks, tens, nines, eights. And their strategy is a little different than mine, but that would be a good one to check out. I'll leave a link down in the description if I can. So with those, now you got to decide whether you want to 3-bet with them or just set mine, because you can go both directions with those. You don't have to be set mine. With nines, eights, and sevens, I personally still tend to set mine with them. Tens and jacks, it really depends. If I'm in the small blind, I have a tendency to want to 3-bet them. I want to get the betting lead, maybe just pick it up. In the big blind, I tend to just call. It really varies on the table. If it's a wild table, the tens and jacks are going. We'll just get it in. But generally speaking, when you play online, you're not on wild tables. Doesn't happen. But live is a different subject. Now, playing those middle pairs live, if we're against maniacs and drunks that are playing super wide, it's pretty tough to fold those. I'm not going to set mine with them playing live cash with the middle pairs, especially the jacks and tens. If they're wild, if it's, we're closing in on midnight and the table's getting pretty blasted and they're just ahead of so much of their range. One, you're going to have to at least see a flop. And if you got to get it in, get it in. I mean, not if you got like if you both have 200-300 big blinds in front of you. But for 100 bigs, yeah, let her rip. And if it's not 100 bigs, see a flop and go from there. And, you're going to have to do it's hard to do hand reading against a drunk. But you're just going to have to go with how the flop looks. Do you think they even have a piece of it? If it's pretty disconnected, it's hard to fold. Now, your nines, eights, and sevens, you could put them in the baby pair situation. You could put them in the middle pair situation when it comes to playing live. And in tournaments, like I say, those I play really aggressively. They're big hands in tournaments. They really are, in my humble opinion. So that's my thought on the middle pairs. We got 4-7 of diamonds in the big blind. Now, I said I was going to stop playing super loose in the big blind, so I'm going to fold this. So let's hit check fold because I've been overplaying in the big blind. I think that's a leak of mine. All right, so let's talk top of range. Aces, kings, queens. We're top of range. We're 3-betting, 4-betting. Aces, I tend to 3-bet. If they 4-bet, we'll just get it in. If I bet and they 3-bet, with aces, generally speaking, I won't 4-bet shove. I'll just basically min click it and try to keep them in. But charge them to stay in as well. Now, with kings and queens, generally speaking, I'm going to 3-bet them. And if they 4-bet them, I'm going to call it off and see if an ace hits. Now, if they 4-bet shove, that's a tough one. Because online, if they're a regular player, a non-maniac, there's only 3 hands they're shoving pre. Aces, kings, and now we can argue whether it's queens or ace-king suited. But I'm saying it's aces, kings, and ace-king suited. Maybe queens for a 4th hand. So when they 4-bet, I mean, just call it and see a flop. You can't fold. But I wouldn't be jamming. Because if the ace hits and you got kings or queens and they want to keep rolling, you know they got the ace-king suited. And then, depending on where the SPR is, it's you might not be able to let go post-flop. That's tough. All right, we got big slick offsuit. We're going to 3-bet this. We'll call a 3-bet. So, okay, I don't know why he's doing that. We're going to go to 4.4. We'll call a non-ridiculous raise. Typical C-bet board for us. This is a bet call, unless he jams. Okay, we like that. So we're going to bet again. Should almost check here. Whoa. Ace 5, 10, 2. I have ace king, and he donked into me. He has 2 pair. I'm just telling you, he has 2 pair. That's how these guys play. So I'm dead. But I'm going to call just to show you. And there's a 3. He's going to jam. I'm going to call it out. Nope. We're going to go check, check. Okay. 6-4. He rivered the straight. Ridiculous. Okay. 9-10. We're going to fold that. Well, we're going to have to label him differently. He actually got it in with the draw. Amazing. And he hits. He hits. I think it was a gutter. Well, kudos to him. That's crazy. And the only reason I'm labeling him fish is that when I label fish, that means that they can bluff. They play like that. Where I tag them regular means that they're not putting money in without 2 pair there. So great river card for him. And it is what it is. Jack 2, we're going to let that go. Funny thing, yeah, I was going to let that go because if it's a regular, he's got aces up. I'm just dead. I didn't think a guy would donk 20 bigs with a gutter. Did he already have? No, he needed the 3. Yep. All right, so that's where that is. So kudos to him for getting money in without it. You don't see that much online. We should also label him a bluffer. Because that way, there's so few bluffers in this game, in this player pool, that it's probably good to label them. Because it just doesn't happen much. So that's top of range. And in tournaments, obviously, I mean, we're just barreling. It just never folding with top of range, especially once the effective stacks start getting down. I mean, it's just going in. 3-5, we're going to fold that. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. I know most people do not agree with me on, especially those my middle pair section. That they want, that's a 3-bet or fold, and that's a big hand, and you got to ram and jam with that in a cash game. I just don't see it. So, oh, we got Money Burner on the button. So he raised. We're on the button, so we're just going to call. That's weird. That's a min-click 3-bet from this weirdo over here. I generally speaking don't overcall 3-bets, but in this situation, let's call it. I probably should be folding here, but let's try it just because this is such an odd spot. Well, we got the overcard. Does one of them have an ace? He could easily have an ace. We don't have a club. We have a pair. We got to peel at least one. 7.6. So he's got an ace. We got to call one. No. Now, if we would have caught a king or a 10, different story. We're still behind an ace, so we're going to have to let this go. There's 36 in the middle. We're folding. Let's see how this plays out. Yeah, his ace is good. Especially when he's betting into two people that much. He's good. Okay. Kind of lost my train of thought on that one. All right, so we'll continue playing. We're down a half a stack. We'll see if we can't bring up another table now that I'm pretty much done running my mouth. We're getting a wait list there. Can we get on anywhere? Oh, there we go. It didn't take long. Okay. We're about to be big blind, so we'll just be big blind next. Okay, move that. Oh, where'd our other table go? Ace 10. We're going to raise that up. Let's minimize that. We will call that. We're out of position. He's got position on us, but I will call 3 bets, especially small ones, with a suited ace or a pocket pair. And that was not good. We need runner either way, or we need to catch the ace and have our kicker be good, which I doubt that's the case. King 2, we're going to let that go. And, yeah, we'll let that go. I know we had an overcard and 2 to a straight, 2 to the flush, but what if you catch part of your straight or part of your flush, how much is it going to cost you to whiff the river? I mean, see the river. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we're down good over here. 7-9. We'll go there. Queen 8, offsuit and small blind. That's definitely a fold. 7-9 and small blind. That's definitely a fold. Okay. Well, let's see what we can, if we can get some hands here. Let's see what shakes. What do they got going here? Well, this king held. 10 stuck in there. So that's what I'm saying about with 10s. It's like, dude, you got the overcards. You're dead. I mean, what are you beating in a cash game? But again, I'm sure most people are going to disagree with me. But when you whiff on the flop, you're drawn to 2 outs, and you got overcards, and they're not leaving. 10-9 offsuit on the button. I do play this. This is a bet fold. I'm not calling a 3-bet with 10-9 offsuit. King 9, we're going to, again, same thing. We're in the cutoff. We are not going to see this. Okay, this guy's going to keep doing this. So we're going to get out of this table because, and I'll link to my table selection one. I got a video on that where on this stuff, King 10, that if somebody's just going to keep 3-betting you to death, just get out. Just move along. They're on your left. They got position on you, and they're just going to make your life miserable. So you either got to start 4-betting. We need to 3-bet this. You either need to start 4-betting, King 10 of diamonds, in the cutoff. We want to get the button from playing. We want to keep him out. And if he goes over, okay. All right, we flop the nut flush draw. So we 3-bet, so we're going to C-bet because it's my style. And the hand is over. So I'll link to that seat selection, aces. Okay, let's, we're never folding this pre, put it that way. And I'll put a link for the seat selection, table selection one. Because, especially online, there's no reason to battle with a guy on your left that's just going to 3-bet the crap out of you. Now, I don't jam this pre as a 4-bet, but I will raise it up and give him the... Now, if he wants to go, obviously we're going. 9, 6, 8, 2 clubs. Terrible flop for aces, but it is a 3-bet pot. So we're going to C-bet, which is going to pretty much make us pot committed at this point. And if he goes, we're just going to have to, it's going to be what it is. Well, we do have the ace of clubs. Do we check it? Nah, let's jam it. Any club, we're good. We're golden. Except for the 8 of clubs if he's got a set. What does he want to do? He's got... Okay, we picked up a stack. There we go. Well, close to a stack. That worked out nice. Last session, we lost twice with aces. Finally won one. Okay. It's hard to fold top of range post flop. I do have a video on that. That's the Just Fold series. I'll try to put a link on that down in the description. 8, 9 suited in the small blind. We'll overcall. Or just call, I guess. I don't have to say overcall. And he 3-bets. We are out of position without a pocket pair or a suited ace. I like the suited connectors. 6.6 more. I should fold this, but I'm going to play it. And we're going to let go. That should have been a fold. He's going to see bet. We're going to let it go. So that might have been a content call there. Generally speaking, if I'm out of position to a 3-bet and I don't have a suited ace or ace king, ace queen, or a pocket pair, I usually let it go. That one, if I wasn't recording this, I probably would have. But it is what it is. All right, we got a couple minutes left. Maybe we can pick up another pot. So, and that's the other thing is to put notes on people. Okay, reg and a bluffer. Okay, so something doesn't jive there. Let's change that to fish. That way we know he's a bluffer. And click check. 10-3, suit it. We're going to fold that. We're in the big blind, 7-6 offsuit. If we can see it, if it's like, okay, never mind, like 2.2, 2.5, maybe. Well, we would against the small blind because we got position. Okay, we're running out of people, but we got 4 people still. So we'll stick with this until the end. And we got another customer coming in. Uh-oh. Dogs are barking. Ace queen offsuit on the button. This is a raise. Well, if this guy 3-bets, I'm going to call it. If he 3-bets, I'm going to fold it. All right, we have the ace of it. It's a pair. So I generally like to bet paired boards. You can comment down below whether you agree with that or not. In position, heads up, that is. Now we're going to call a raise. We have the ace of it. We have 2 overcards. Okay, so what does he have? We got to start shrinking his range. He's got clubs. Clubs are face cards with a club. He doesn't have a 6. He was in the big blind. Let's charge him for it. If he's on the draw. And if he's not on the draw, he's going to punch. And now we got our answer. We can fold. Yep. We're beat. They're not putting it in without it. I'm just telling you. And we've never seen this guy bluff. So all right, we'll probably play until we're big blind. And with that bet, it's a large bet. It's a pot-sized bet on the turn, and the turn is a truth card, and he went 30. We're beat. He's got an overpair. He's got a 6. The chance that he's doing that with just the flush draw, I just highly doubt. I just really doubt it. And I played against this guy. Okay, well, I should probably change that. Says weirdo. Okay. All right. Ace Jack. We're going to fold to a 3-bet. If it was suited, we definitely wouldn't. And against him, I might 4-bet it just to see what this guy is doing. All right, let's see what this guy wants to do. Okay, well, 3 gives us the wrong end of the thing. It hits him, not us. I mean, you do have to have some checkbacks, don't you? Okay, that's interesting. We have top pair, and now we have a jack-high flush draw. And there's only a king and queen higher. Okay, that's over. All right, we're going to sit out and call that there. That was 30 minutes of poker. I'm Brad for Bonesaw Poker. Thanks for watching. And remember, everything you want is on the other side of fear.